Hey there, Jeff Manchester, Manchester Music. Welcome. In some ways, Bloom is unlike any reverb I've used. In others, it's familiar, easy to jump right in. It undulates and moves in chaotic, almost analog ways, and at first it can be hard to grasp, but once you get it, it's pretty neat. It's got its quirks, it can be frustrating, but it can also be beautiful. Bloom is something special. And what makes it special is the rise control. Rise, a euphemism I think for bloom, is the star feature of this plugin. According to UVI, the French team behind Bloom, Rise shapes how quickly the reverb blooms into its full form. It uses offset reverb engines to create depth, movement, and emotion. It dims transients without modulation or envelopes, perfect for, they say, building tension and atmosphere. So let's get a little nerdy about what Rise is doing. So you might be thinking, okay, I just heard that. Isn't Rise just like pre-delay? Kinda, but not really. Pre-delay makes the reverb feel like it's a beat behind. You hear the dry sound first, and then bam, the reverb jumps in. It's a classic move for keeping things like vocals and snares nice and clear. Take a listen on this snare for an example of pre-delay adding space. Now, Rise feels a little different. It's like the reverb is already there, but swelling up, like the air around the sound is slowly getting more wet. It feels ambient, cinematic, and emotional. Let's hear the same snare again, but with Rise. Now, Rise feels different. It's like the reverb is already there, but swelling up, like the air around the sound is slowly getting more wet. Okay, so you heard the pre-delay versus the Rise thing. Now you might be wondering, well, what about tail suppression and recovery on exponential audio reverbs or ducking? Again, it's similar, but not quite. Tail suppression ducks the reverb when the dry hit comes in, and then it brings it back up, kind of like when your GPS dims the music in your car to tell you when to turn, and then the music comes back. Rise doesn't duck. It starts the reverb at 0 and then blooms in gradually. The result, to my ears, is smoother and more organic. So enough about Rise-like controls and other reverbs. How does Rise actually work? Well, you've actually been hearing it the whole time in the background, but let's break it down. So Rise time, it's not fixed. It's based on your decay time. If decay is set to 8 seconds and Rise is set to 25%, the fade in takes 2 seconds. That's the math, I think. So it's not a linear fade. It blooms and decays in more natural and sometimes chaotic, in a fun way, ways. Let's listen to an example we've had playing underneath. There is a dry key sound that's enhanced with Rise, set to about 65% of a 6-second decay. This means that the reverb grows over about 3.9 seconds and then decays fully by 6 seconds. The 3.9 seconds is part of the decay, it's not extra. Let's take a listen. Okay, so now that we understand Rise, let's explore the rest of the plugin, because a lot of the features are going to be pretty familiar if you've used other Reverb tools. First things first, you can scale the UI. 125% is great for my monitor. You can reveal the spectrum analyzer, or don't. You've got taps, modulation, decay, and the famous Rise control. And above that, you've got something really cool, the spectral decay view. It's a visual take on how reverb decays, I think, and it's elegant, artistic, very français. Another fun feature is the preset Voyager. It looks like a star chart, and in the center, a preset called Toilet, which coincidentally is a place I often ask to go in French class. UVI built this to encourage exploration, and honestly, it's kind of fun, even if it's a bit hard to read when zoomed in. I flagged this to them, and they may patch it on a future release. Of course, you can always browse the menu folders and explore presets manually like you would in any other plugin. There's also a randomize button and a mutate button, which makes small changes to the presets that you've selected. I think it's kind of cool, especially the mutate button, because sometimes you just want little micro tweaks, and that's what's going to get you a little bit of an edge or make you feel like you're not just using presets, you're making them your own. You can lock controls too. I've locked the mix by right-clicking and toggling it so it doesn't shift around as I change presets, as I have Bloom right now on Ascend. You can also freeze the reverb tail, like you can in other plugins, in place, so it's perfect for sound design. Take a listen. Now we have what sounds like a spaceship just kind of idling before it's about to take off to another galaxy. And you've got the usual reverb suspects: size, shape, pre-delay, width, and diffusion. Hover over any control and you'll get a description at the bottom of the UI, which is nice. You don't have to keep, reaching for the manual or going to YouTube. One more major feature: reverb modes. You've got single, parallel, and serial. Now in my tests, some of the most interesting analog-y, chaotic style reverb tails came from the serial and parallel modes, not so much from the single mode, which I found to be a very utilitarian kind of engine, which is comparable to other reverbs that I've used in like stock reverbs and stuff from Valhalla as well. So definitely play with the serial and parallel for more wilder, I think, more interesting, colorful reverb tails. So that's Bloom. Let's do more listening because we've done a lot of talking. Here are some of my favorite presets. Here's Granular Echo. This one is called Staccato. It adds really subtle movement, so I'll turn it on and off so you can really kind of hear what's happening. This one's called Reverse. So what do I think? I think Rise is cool. It's simple to control, but complex enough to make you want to shape it. Even in single mode, it sounds pretty darn good. I personally would have liked a little bit more EQ control. If you see my other reverb reviews, you know how much I love onboard sculpting of the EQ, but UVI's design, I think, lets the dry signal shine first before the tail blooms in. It's kind of self-balancing in a way. And it also, just like the marketing says, I believe, really helps to soften the harsh transients, especially when you've got sharp upper mid sibilants and stuff like that you're sending into a reverb. And the blooming tail is organic. It's not just like a smeared copy of the dry source. So in this way, I think what Rise is doing is genuinely new and interesting and fairly musical. So that's what I think. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see anything else on this channel, another comparison, another review, reverb, EQ, another tool, let me know. Take care.